Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tea with Richard. It is Monday, the 15th of June. Hello there, my name is Richard Hornby. I've got a nice mug of tea, and welcome to this episode of Tea with Richard. So, I hope you've all had a lovely weekend and you've done something fun. I did a few things. I went out and did a little bit of a practice run of the walk that you're going to see on Wednesday's video. And obviously, I know some of you tuned in to watch the Residents Association meeting that was broadcast on this channel over the weekend. So thank you very much to those of you who did that. And I hope you found that was useful and productive. Another thing I did was obviously, as you know, I work in education, and I've been doing a few little bits of background reading. And one of the things that I read was this paper here about a report studying future planning for Year 9 students in England. And they quoted that 9 additional days of absence over a school career was associated with a reduction of 1 grade in GCSE maths. Now, that really points out to me the importance of doing maths on a regular basis. If 9 days of not doing maths at school can make you lose a GCSE grade, just think about how much maths, that if you're not doing it regularly, how much not doing maths can affect your skills in that area. I also watched Joe Morgan's YouTube video on the calculator crisis, which was talking about how, as you probably are aware, calculators are now a fundamental part of doing maths, both calculators and computers. But these aren't really taught in the school curriculum very much. And obviously, we need to be able to teach our students and our children and our friends and family how to use calculators, because they're going to be very important in their lives. And so I'd like to show you a activity that's going on at the moment, and it's been put on by the MEI, and it's called the Calculator Crunch. It's for Year 6 and 7 students at school, so that's the end of primary and the start of secondary. And they're setting on the MEI Twitter feed daily problems for the next couple of weeks on weekdays. So this one is a little bit of a silly one to start with. Type 707 in the calculator and turn it upside down. Did it make you lol? How many different ways can you make your calculator laugh by getting the answer 707? And how creative can you be? Now, if you want to pause the live stream here, you're welcome to, but it might be something to have a think about during the day. Obviously, you can spot they've put a few additional challenges on there. Try and do it without using the 7 key, without using the 7, 0 and plus keys, and using a mixture of operations and possibly brackets, squares and square roots. Yeah, try to make these problems as tricky as possible and to encourage children to use their calculators effectively. I thought I'd share to you a little answer about 707, a bit of a different one. It's actually not in any of those 3 categories because it does use the 7 key. It doesn't use a 0, but it does use the plus. And you can write 707 as 131 plus 137 plus 139 plus 149 plus 151. Does anybody have any idea why that is an interesting way of breaking up 707? Again, I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about it. And if any of the concurrent viewers who are watching can spot the significant thing about those numbers, let me know. Not seeing anything? Okay, so those are all prime numbers, and more significantly, they are all consecutive prime numbers. Prime numbers, for those people who aren't so fluent in maths, are numbers that are only divisible by themselves and 1. So there's no, obviously there's no even numbers there, because if you have an even number, that's divisible by 2. But those 5 numbers there are all consecutive prime numbers. So 707 is quite an interesting number because it is the sum of 5 consecutive prime numbers. I just thought that that was a bit of a more interesting solution. But there's plenty of other, in fact, there's an infinite number of possible ways of producing 707. So if you've got 10 minutes and you've got perhaps, younger relatives, younger members of your family, younger friends, maybe set them a challenge to how many different ways they can make 707 on a calculator in those groups. Obviously, there are actually an infinite number of solutions to this problem, but the more innovative they are, the more hidden they are, like the sum of consecutive primes there, I think the more points you might be able to give yourself for getting them. So that is something that the MEI are doing. And as I said, these challenges are being posted every day this week and every day next week. And they're a bit of fun and they at least get you thinking about different numbers. Another thing to start thinking about is getting back to visit attractions and things, because the country is slowly starting to reopen. Obviously, we now have social bubbles, so if you are alone at the moment and are not in the shielding groups, you can now go and join on to another family as part of their wider social bubble, which I'm sure will prevent a lot of isolation. And also, all places are doing COVID-safe visits. You may have already heard in the media about Chester Zoo. And I'm just going to mention a few that are going on in the northeast that you might want to be interested in. Washington Wildlife Wetlands Centre are open for advance purchases. They are currently sold out on every day this week, with the exception that there is, as I speak, I'm looking at it now, 1 ticket available to go tomorrow. So if you're looking for something to do tomorrow and you want to visit the WT Wetlands Centre in Washington, there is 1 free ticket available. As of now, I suspect it might go very quickly. Also, the National Trust are opening a lot of their landmarks and places. For instance, the National Trust Gippside, the Woods and Landscape Gardens are open. It is ticketed only, and you have to go online and get a ticket in advance, but that is something else you can do. And they are slowly starting to open their other activities. English Heritage at the moment have 6 properties open. The nearest one to the northeast is Broadsworth Hall in Yorkshire. However, on the 4th of July, they are opening a further 32 properties, including quite a number in the northeast. For instance, Barnard Castle, Belsay Hall, Dunstamborough Castle, Tynemouth Castle, and also Chester's Roman Fort and Corbridge Roman Town and Housestead Roman Fort on Hadrian's Wall. So there are a lot of activities open, and they are all bookable from today on the English Heritage website. You just need to go online and look for sites opening in July, click the site, and there will be an option to book a ticket. That goes whether you're a member of English Heritage or whether you're not a member. Everybody still needs to book. And you'll find that this kind of booking things in advance is going to be something that we will have for a very long period of time. So start planning now if you're thinking of having a day out or a weekend out in July. So that's the end of my little bit of updates. So it's time, as always on a Monday, to move towards a spot of reflection. And in today's reflection time, we are going to again, a couple of things to think about. One of them we'll be thinking about tomorrow as well, on Wednesday when we do our walk, and that is appreciating the joy of nature and the beauty in the world around us. Now, you might have noticed that I've also brought George the Railway Bear out because, as I may have mentioned on last week's show, this week's walk features a disused railway, and I think George will be coming along with me and exploring the disused railways around Durham. So that'll be on Wednesday's walk. But the other thing about disused railways is that there's an awful lot of nature around, and you're going to see this on the walk we're going to show on Wednesday. Because there's a lot of animals in fields. I saw a squirrel when I was doing my pre-walk, so there'll be a lot of different wildlife to see. So not just while watching the video, but when you're out and about, try and appreciate the joy of nature and the beauty in the world around you. And the other reason I introduced George is that today's reflection time also is suggesting that you rediscover a fun childhood activity that you can enjoy today. Whether that's playing hopscotch on a driveway, grabbing an old board game, maybe Snakes and Ladders or something, or, you know, doing something that you did when you were younger, even maybe cuddling a bear. Try to rediscover a fun childhood activity that you can enjoy today. And it's always good to be able to think back to more positive times, especially when we're struggling and we're finding things difficult. I know some people are finding it very difficult at the moment, and I do hope the creation of the bubbles has prevented that so much isolation going on. So that's it for my Reflection Time Corner for today, and that's it for today's Monday show. Now, this is probably our last conventional Monday show, so can I just thank all of those people who've watched it so far and watched the previous episodes. And if you would like to submit a contribution to the last Your Corner, do so by emailing t@mallard-days.com. That'll be on the last corner, Your Corner, which will be on episode 49. And please do get in touch. Let me know what you've been up to over the last 13 weeks and share, you know, anything you've done at all, really. And we'll be spending a lot of episode 49 looking back at your contributions, some of which have featured in previous episodes. And I'd like to thank everybody who's contributed so far. If you haven't and you want to, email me in t@mallard-days.com. And those will be on episode 49. So, as I say, I'll be back on Wednesday with my Wednesday walk. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy your cup of tea. And remember that when you finish your cup of tea, do wash your hands. And by doing so, we'll minimise the spread and we'll beat coronavirus. Hope you have a good afternoon, folks. Goodbye.